Thank you everyone for joining us for this session of Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to be discussing web form workflows and how they integrate with ArcGIS. Recently we've done a couple of webinars on web form workflows, and basically an introduction, and then I did one just last week about how the web form workflows actually work. So today we'll look at how those will integrate into ArcGIS. Just a little refresher on web form workflows. These workflows, the forms themselves particularly, can only be used in GeoSyncGO Plus. They're specifically for GeoSyncGO Plus, the connected version. The forms actually can be utilized for standard workflows, but only from Go Plus. The web forms are an enhancement to the standard workflow forms. Basically, it's a new interface with a lot of options and tools, particularly for the field type. Really nice options there. It's actually improved for updating and refreshing your map. All of the web forms and web form workflows can be managed directly from GeoSyncGO Plus, either the installed application or the web browser version of the application. Some more review here. We're going to actually utilize the workflow that I used in the last webinar for our collecting culverts, the culvert inventory. So first, I want to look at the steps. We're not going to go through rebuilding that workflow and the forms and everything. We're just going to utilize what's there. Basically, what we've already done in the previous webinar, that was called web workflows, web form workflows. We've created a data source. We actually utilized a web form data source. It's actually created in a data source created in the cloud. If you remember, we called it DRNG Cove. We use an empty workflow, so we've actually built our database, our data source from GeoSyncGO Plus. Had an empty source. We then created a layer in GeoSyncGO and assigned that data source to that layer. Basically, we can display the data that's coming from that data source. We can display that on the map in our layer. We also designed our web forms, actually the forms that we can build from GeoSyncGO Plus, the web forms that we created those with all the different fields we wanted connected to the database. Here's an example of the web form here. This was where we created the source. So the web form, we added all the different fields and everything that we wanted to collect data for these culverts. Then we actually create a map project, so we can pull all this information together, pull the source and the forms together into one package. And then we actually added, we added all these forms, the forms and the layer to that project, so we can utilize them. So then next we went and actually did some collection, actually added some features into that data source, that web form workflow. So another little review of that, of adding the data, we want to use a number of methods to determine the location on the map. We would either click on the map and hold and do a new report, or if we have our GPS turned on, we can actually do get new location or new geolocation and either of those ways actually starts our form. You can see here on our report, you can see the form for that here on the right side. So again, manually clicking on the map, starting a report, or if we use the GPS location, create a new geolocation, that starts our report. So we see our form, fill that out, save it, and then that feature is created. It's in the map. At that point, again, we've got a web form workflow, and we've added a couple points to our features to our workflow data source. At this point, we can see those in GeoSyncGO. But now, say we would like to maintain our data there in Arc. So we want to pull that information from GeoSyncGO into ArcGIS Desktop. The first thing that we need to do is download the features from our web map data source so we can utilize it on our desktop computer. The steps for that, we'll actually use the GeoSyncGO Plus. We'll actually start from GeoSyncGO Plus on the account menu. And remember, you have to get to account in GeoSyncGO Plus, you have to be logged in as a user with administrative rights. So once you're there, you want to go to Snapshots. We'll select Snapshots. Then from Snapshots, there'll be a dialog that opens up. We'll select New to create a new snapshot. Now, basically, a snapshot is a snapshot of a data source that we can create from our mobile app. Now, this can be done on your smartphone, on a tablet, or and on a Windows device. So anywhere that you can open the GeoSyncGO Plus app, you can actually create these snapshots. And again, for the snapshot, you will need to have a internet connection because we're actually going to, this is our download. We want to be able to get it to our local machine. So once we create the new data source, we'll actually give that data source a name. We'll pick the data source type. In this case, I selected CSV. That's probably the quickest and easiest way for the ArcGIS interface or integration. We'll actually download or actually create a CSV file. So then we select our data source. In this case, we want to download or we want to create a snapshot of our culverts data. Now this is a table, not necessarily a layer, but this is if it will grab the table, make a copy of that information. So once we click that and click Save, we'll drop back to the main menu, and you'll see that data source created. What that's done, that's actually created a copy, like I said, of your current data from the record, so that that data source created it in your cloud account. So it is actually in. So we've captured the culverts that we collected and put a copy of those out in a CSV in our cloud account. The next thing we want to do, export that CSV, that snapshot that we made. We want to export that into a format that we can use in ArcGIS. In this case, I'll be using desktop, but we want to export that. The next tool that we'll use, we'll go to our GeoSyncGO AM tools to data sources, and under the data sources group, you have a Go Plus snapshot tab. From there, I will select the CSV data type and then click refresh. When I do that, that actually goes out to your cloud account and copies that snapshot that we created, copies it down to your local machine. So then I can see here my DRNG code, my culverts snapshot. So I'll select that snapshot, click export shape. We want to use a shape file. Of course, it's the easiest way to get the data into Arc. Here, again, select that, the snapshot that we want, export to shape, select the projection file. This should just flow right through here. We will stay with the North American data, so I'll select OK there. Once you click OK, it'll tell you that the export is complete. You're ready to go. You click OK, it moves on. We actually exported that snapshot to a shape file. So the next step is we want to actually get those features into ArcGIS. A couple of ways we can do that, or well, one way we can actually do it, but the basic thing would just be to open your ArcGIS project and add that shape file to ArcGIS. So, and the file that you've exported is under My Documents, GeoSyncGO, Export, Shape Files. Now there'll be a folder for the year, month, date, and time. It's the export name, year, month, date, and time. So you'll browse date and timestamp folder. So under that will be your shape file. So you select that shape file, you can add it to the map, and you can stop there if you want. So maybe that's all you're doing is you're just going to collect some information, and you want to get it into Arc. If you're going to be collecting in several steps, or in multiple times, you may, and you have in this case, our culverts are, we have a master layer, and we just want to update that master layer from what we've collected in the field. So we've already got some stuff in there. You have the option of going, also available here, we can use the Append Layers GIS tool. So I could go into this tool, select my culverts as my source layer, and then my select my DRMG cove as my source, and select culverts as my target layer in Arc. Match up the fields that they should match, and append those. So you just continue to append data to your culverts layer. So you can, like I say, you can just bring the shape file in and just use it, or you can actually have a kind of a recurring thing where you've got your master data source in Arc, and you want to use the GeoSyncGO drainage culvert inventory as a way just to continually, like a data dictionary. You want to continue to update from GeoSyncGO. In that case, you would do the same thing. You would export the shape file, come in and use the append layers to GIS. Actually, append those each time you have information or new field collection. You could append it into your master layer in ArcGIS. So at that point, you've got all your data in Arc, and now we want to push that back out so we can have a layer in GeoSyncGO to share. That's the standard GeoSyncGO process where we will, from ArcGIS desktop, you will export your data to the GeoSyncGO format. The tool, GeoSyncGO Layers Export Tool, when you open it, you have a listing of all your layers in Arc. You select the layer or layers that you want to export to GeoSyncGO, and simply select that, click Export. Once you select Export, once the layers have been exported to GeoSync, back to GeoSyncGO format, go to the Publish to GeoSyncGO in AN Tools, select the layers that you want to update, click Publish, and those can be used in. You can publish to any to GeoSync, using GeoSyncGO Plus, mobile, or on desktop. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.